All right, so in a million years, I've never thought that I would get these lenses, and that's the Tokina Cinema Vista lenses, and I've been pairing them up with my Red Komodo-X, and I just want to share my thoughts on how they've been for me over the last year, and what I like about them, what I dislike, and honestly, if I think you should be getting these cinema lenses with this kind of camera. So sometimes I forget why I picked up the Red Komodo-X, and why I really enjoy that camera so much. And especially when you invest in big lenses like the Tokina Cinema Vista lenses, you kind of forget about that. Before we get into anything else with the video, do you need these lenses? I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat, absolutely no, you do not. But if you find value in some of the things that I'm gonna talk about, and you find value or relatability in some of my experience, then maybe these lenses are something that you might want to invest in. Let's check it out. So there's two main projects that I want to talk to you about that I've shot with these lenses. One has been released. It's about a friend who runs a kombucha business and who went through a scary situation in his life, and then he kind of turned that around. And then another project hasn't been released as of the recording of this video, but it was in a way that I never thought I would use these lenses. A documentary type run and gun approach. But before we get into all that, if you're new here, my name is Tim DeGrassa and I'm a video producer in Atlanta. I shoot a little bit of weddings, documentary type work, as well as run and gun videos for clients who may need to tell a story. I really find myself interested in those stories where there's been a change with a character, or my video or story is making some sort of impact in someone's life. So if you're interested in those things, feel free to subscribe to the channel as I'll post more content. So why would anybody get these lenses when there's a ton of other options on the market for a half, a fifth, a third of the price? It doesn't even matter at this point anymore because there's so many good options out there that you can really pick up any lens and shoot something worthwhile, I think. All right, so quick disclosure, I bought these lenses with my own money. Nobody is paying me to say anything in this video. Not Tokina, not Red, not anybody, not Kippertai. These are all my thoughts, my own opinions, and I just wanna let you guys know that I will always be accountable to the people first. So hope you guys enjoy this review. Now, I just shared there were two projects that I worked on with these lenses, and I absolutely love them for that. And they were great. I mean, they performed so well. I had no issues. I ended up using a PD Movie Live Air 3 for the autofocus in a super dim environment because I was not about to be pulling focus for that run and gun job when I was working with a lot of students, you know, running around on stage and trying to hype them up and things of that nature. And for the more documentary approach, I did pull focus on that kombucha video that I was just telling you about, and it was a lot easier to work with the lenses in that environment. But y'all, like, I never had lenses this heavy before. These lenses are probably about 5.5 pounds each. And when you have your full camera package rigged up with a top rail, or excuse me, not a top rail, a top handle, a side handle, a 7-inch monitor, and, you know, focus, and all these other gadgets, things get heavy real quick. So when it comes to using these lenses in the field, they're incredibly heavy. Like, my back was aching on both of those projects, and you're gonna need some sort of support system. Even then, like, I found something very interesting. While the experience using these lenses were super enjoyable and I really appreciate the quality of these lenses, sometimes I forget why I got the Komodo-X in the first place. And that is simply because of how small it is. This is pretty much a small package, and you might be wondering, why would anyone get a Tokina Cinema Vista lens over something like this Laowa APO 33mm f pretty much 1.0 lens? Like, why would you choose that? They perform flawlessly. And I think it just really depends if you have the budget on it, what kind of projects you're shooting, and what kind of quality you want. So I picked up the Tokina Cinema Vista lenses for three main reasons. The first is clarity, the second is versatility, and the third is longevity. And you can probably guess what all three of those things mean, but I'll go ahead and explain them here anyway. Clarity, these lenses are super clear, super sharp, wide open. They perform super well in low light environments or dim environments, and the versatility on them are amazing. They're not so clinical to the point where you only want to use them for super professional or commercial jobs, but they have a little bit of a character to them where you're like, you know what, this is going to work for that project. And lastly, the longevity piece. These lenses cover up to VistaVision sensors, and while I don't have a VistaVision sensor camera, and I don't ever see myself getting a VistaVision sensor camera, I do have a Super 35 camera, and I do see myself upgrading to a full frame camera one day. Shout out to the Canon C80. And you know, these lenses are gonna be able to work on that camera because the image circle of the lenses are gonna cover the entire sensor. And that's just something that you wanna kinda think about whenever you're investing in lenses. So for me, these lenses made a lot of sense. For every lens I purchase, I always look at what the minimum focusing distance is. And for these Tokina Cinema Vista lenses, the 25mm has a minimum focusing distance of 13.8 inches. So with that wide field of view, even at semi-wide, on a Super 35 sensor like the Komodo-X, you can get pretty close. So it might be a little distorted a little bit, but I mean, you're gonna be up close and personal. And for the 50mm, you have a 19-inch minimum focusing distance. So again, 50mm is gonna be pretty tight on a Super 35 sensor, and you can kind of see that in some of the footage that I've shot before, right? You're able to just really zoom in on something essentially by pointing your camera as close to it as possible and just really capturing those details sharply too. And that makes for a great experience. I can't really say that for some of these other small lenses that, you know, work really well with the Komodo-X. I like to get up close and personal on people and really capture the emotions in that environment, whether it's a living subject or whether it's an inanimate object, and really just sort of tell the story from that perspective. And you can do that with the Tokina Cinema Vista lenses. The only con, the only con is that these boys are chunky. They're heavy, they're pretty big, and I mean, you're gonna need support in multiple ways. You're gonna need support in terms of the mount. You're gonna need support in terms of the threading on the bottom of it so that you're not like bending that mount. And then you're gonna need support to hold your camera when it's fully rigged up and you're using one of these lenses with that camera. I mean, this is just 5 pounds in and of itself. And if your camera body is 2 pounds and your top handle is 1 pound, your side handle is another pound, and then your monitor is 2 pounds, I mean, that adds up quickly. You're already pushing the 12 to 15 pound range. And that's what the Easy Rig, you know, the cheaper versions at least, like the Mini Max, can hold. So am I gonna keep these lenses? Sometimes I don't get to use my camera package. I just get booked out and I might go shoot something and, you know, that company or whoever has all the equipment that I might need. And beyond that, do I really want to run around with them? Do I want to always have to rig up with the Easy Rig? Do I want to build out my camera to a full package? Or do I want to simply just put a little small lens on a small camera body with a battery and a grip and just run out there and record and capture what I can? And I've been finding a lot of joy in recording that way for a little while. If you're looking for some excellent lenses that really just work well, they perform flawlessly in terms of the footage that it captures, flawless. How the focus and iris ring move, flawless. In terms of the optics, flawless. In terms of the customer service, like the folks over at Tokina Cinema USA are absolutely, maybe these lenses are worth it to you, or maybe you want to rent them or anything like that. But if you're someone who does a lot of run and gun video, who needs autofocus, or who rents cinema lenses, then I don't think that you need to buy these. I think that you could easily go rent them and, you know, get your shoot done and enjoy the footage and, you know, make more money from what you captured. But as far as having it in your personal investment, I'm not quite sure if it makes sense. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.